Hello, beautiful people. The word of the Lord today is do not conform. Do not conform. Do not conform to the ways of the world, to the ways of the people that you are surrounded by. Do not conform to their thought patterns, to their belief patterns, to what they believe or think should happen. Do not conform. Do not conform. Stand firm in what you believe to be true based on what God has said to you. This is the word of the Lord. So there's a couple Bible verses that he has me coming out of today and wants to discuss with you, and they all are within the same theme. And so I know that God is really trying to get someone to understand. You are in the middle of a situation where you are frustrated because it's like as soon as you got out of you were getting yourself out of a bad situation, it's like something else just getting poured on you to make you believe what God said to be true, not true. So it is causing another delay, or you feel like you're left high and dry, having to figure out your basic necessities, your bread and your butter. God is saying, I am not causing you to do that. I know what it looks like. But I am not causing you to do that. It's making you believe that you need to switch up on God and do whatever it is that you need to do to make it happen for yourself. And God says, I've been keeping you. So now why all of a sudden do you think that you have to do it in your own strength? Why all of a sudden do you want to change up on me and think that you have to do it by yourself? I've never told you that. I've never told you have to do it by yourself, but you're letting people get in your ear. You're letting what you see dictate how you're about to move. And God is saying, do not conform. Do not conform. Do not do it. Do not do it. You have to stand firm on me. I know what the situation looks like, but I've carried you this far. So why would you switch up? Why would you change? Why would you do something different now when you know that I got your back? Okay, so he has me coming out of Galatians 3 verse 3 to start off. It says, are you so foolish? After beginning by means of the Spirit, are you now trying to finish by means of the flesh? God says you're frustrated right now because you're trying to do it out of your own strength, and I never told you to do it out of your own strength. It will happen by my Spirit. It will happen because I say so. I speak and things happen. I never told you to use your own strength. I never told you to even use your own mental agility. I never said it. Be still and know that I am God. It will happen by means of the Spirit, not by the flesh. It's nothing you can do. You're trying to figure out how you can do this, that, there. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Faith is required. That's where your faith is required. Faith has to get involved because you have to know, you have to believe that God will do his part, because there is nothing left for you to do. After you've done all you can do, stand. People, they love to quote, the faith without works is dead. So people naturally believe that you have to do something, but you could have done everything that you needed to do. You could have applied for the job. You could have applied for this, applied for that, and you're waiting to hear back. You done got negativity from there. Now somebody's bringing you bad news so that you have to go over there and deal with this, but you're still waiting on that, to make you then believe that the original plan that God spoke over your life is not true, and it's nothing but a lie. It's a trick of the enemy to make you perceive your life differently than what it is, to make you negate what God said, negate the plans that you had with God. God says, do not conform. Are you so foolish to now all of a sudden believe that you have to do it out of your own strength, mental or physical? I've never said it. It is not so. Okay? So, it says in verse 4, have you experienced so much in vain if it really was in vain? In which that means it would have been in vain if you experienced everything you experienced with God, to know that he is God, to now sit and believe that you have to finish by yourself. So again, I ask, does God give you his Spirit and work miracles among you by the works of the law? Meaning by what people say, by what people have established, or by you believing what you heard. So also Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Believe God. Is it by what you heard? Is it by the law? Or is it by you believing? God is saying, believe. That is your duty. That is your task. You have to believe. Do not conform, but believe. Conforming to the ways of the law says if a man doesn't work and he does not eat. Okay? He does not eat. But you've done everything that you can do. God says, I care much more. I care more about you than the birds in the air. They do not sow or reap, but they eat. God says, why all of a sudden now? Okay, that's Galatians 3:3. I think I read to 3:6. So again, this is the vein that we're in. Verse, then we're coming out of we are coming out of Mark 8. It's another verse that I wanted to get to before I went to this one, but it's okay. We're coming out of Mark 8 verse, we'll start at 16. It says, they discussed this with one another and said, it is because we have no bread. Again, I said we're basically coming back down to the basics. Your bread and butter. You are frustrated with God because you're worried about your basic necessities, your bread and your butter, something that is promised to you by God because he cares for you. Aware of their discussion, Jesus asked them, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Do you have eyes but fail to see, and ears but fail to hear? And don't you remember? God says, don't you remember? I need you to remember. Every time you get into these situations, God sends the test and the storm, and then you get to level ground, and then you go through another test to see, did you learn or not? If you don't learn, you keep repeating the test until you learn. So God is saying, don't you remember? Don't you remember you took this test before? Don't you remember you took this test before? Don't you remember you were in a situation like this before and I delivered you? I will do it again. I will do it again. He says, verse 19, when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many basketful of pieces did you pick up? 12, they replied. He said, I broke 5 loaves for 5,000. So I performed a miracle. This is what Jesus is explaining to them. 5 loaves of bread. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what a loaf of bread looks like. A loaf. 5 of those fed 5,000 people. And when it was all said and done, how many did you pick up? Which means there was extra left over from when there was not enough. God is saying, don't you remember when I did it for you? Don't you remember when I did it for you? You were sitting up there worried about not having enough, and then all of a sudden there was extra left over. How many did you pick up? How much was left? How much was left over the last time God did it for you? How much in access did you have the last time? I get it. You're not there at this very moment. You're back to the beginning of the test. Don't you remember? God says, don't you remember? Don't you remember? I brought you through this before. Don't you remember? And when I broke the 7 loaves, he gave you another example. When I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many basketfuls of pieces did you pick up? They answered, 7. He said to them, do you still not understand? God is saying to you, do you still not understand how I do what I do? Do you still not understand the level of care I have for you based off what I've done for you? There's situations you can bring to your recollection right now that you can see that I was in the midst of it. I was in the middle of it. You were in this exact situation that you're about to face right now once before. A situation similar. And I delivered you. And you had extra access, more than enough. You were taken care of more than enough. When it was all said and done, God says, remember. Remember, you went through a test like this before. Remember how I brought you through. Remember how you relied on me and I did exceedingly and abundantly what you even thought I could do. Remember. Do you not remember? Do you see and not perceive? My God. My God. My God. Do not conform. Do not conform to the way of the world and whoever you're around, their set of beliefs. You believe that God will come through for you. It is your faith. Your faith is required. It's a necessity to see the promise be fulfilled. Faith is required. You have to believe that you will see the promises. It was one more. Oh, of course, the do not conform. Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. His good, pleasing, and perfect will. God is saying, I'm sending you through these battles and these tests so that you are not lacking anything, so that you know me, so that you know me. I'm sending you through these battles so that you know me, so that you can identify me inside of the situation, even if it looks as though I am not there, I am not present. God is saying this is the reason, but do not conform. Renew your mind. When you're renewing your mind, I actually just had something happen in my life where this was very relevant, and God caused me to remember the grace that He's giving me and how unworthy of the grace I am. So before you want to turn up your nose and feel like you're too good to do anything, you're too good for anything, remember, renew your mind to remember God's grace for you is sufficient. And that is the thing that has been keeping you. And God's grace is due to every person, every living being that He created. It's not just for you, it is for them all. And sometimes when you get into these situations, you have to remember yourself that even you are not worthy of the grace that God gives you. It is a gift. And so you have to then give out that gift because God gives it to you in large amounts. And He wants you to remember that. Remember that as you're going and dealing with people and things. Do not conform. I need you to remember me. Do not conform. I need you to remember what we went through. Do not conform. I need you to remember that I was there for you. I was there for you in the way I was there for you. And because the way I was there for you, grace and mercy, that's what you give. You give grace and mercy. You handle the situation with grace and mercy because that's what you get from me. You know that you get it from me. You know that that's what I'm here for you. I'm present for you and in your life. God is saying, do not conform. Continue to believe in me. Continue to dream. Continue to include me inside of every one of your plans. Don't think that you have to do it on your own now. Don't think that you have to do it in your own flesh now. I never said it. I know that my time may be different from your time. I know they telling you to rush the process. I know what they're saying, but who's in control? You are orchestrating your life with the one who is in control of everything. So why would you listen to somebody who don't have? Come on now. They don't have it. They can only give you suggestions from their standpoint. God has an aerial view. I want to deal with God because I know He can see. He's gone ahead of me. Do not try to start doing this thing in your own strength, your own flesh. You began with me, you finish with me. This is the word of the Lord. You began with me, you will finish with me. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Apart from me, you can do nothing. This is the word of the Lord. You're stressing right now because you are now trying to figure it out in your own strength. God says, depend on me solely. Depend on me solely. Yeah, you done leaned on me, you done leaned on me before, but depend on me solely. This is the word of the Lord. Put all your faith in me. Put all your dependence on me. You've been here before. Yes, it's not a comfortable position for you. But it's making sure that you are lacking nothing. It's taking you down through there so that when you are asked about having perspectives about the situation that you're going through, that your opinion will be different from what it was before. It's a process. It's a process. But this is the word of the Lord. Be blessed.